This is Roll Credits.
And thank you, Buckley. Once again, this is Roll Credits, featuring myself, Cap.
And me, with the smoothest voice, Connquest.
And this is Roll Credits.
Oh shit, yeah, that's my line, huh?
So, this week we listened to an album.
That we did, Cap, that we did. I do believe that it was a certain self-titled album by one of the Orange County greats, Social Distortion.
That it was. Want to give us a little backstory on this Social Distortion album by Social Distortion?
I absolutely will. You see, Social Distortion is a punk rock band from the Orange County scene, as I mentioned. Very big band. They were around for 20 some odd years before recording this album, although this album was their third studio album. As aforementioned, it is a self-titled album. It was very much influenced by the rockabilly style that they've been going in for several years, thanks to Mike Ness's interest in bluegrass. It featured their biggest hit songs, like Ball and Chain, and of course their cover of Johnny Cash's Ring of Fire. There was also Let It Be Me and Story of My Life. It's just easily their biggest album by far. The album, they're a classic band, but it's the album that broke them through into the mainstream. It's like a punk rock, rockabilly, bluegrass record, and it absolutely is amazing. It was their first album to enter the Billboard 200. I believe it peaked at 128.
Yeah,
I know it went gold.
pretty respectable.
Yes, I believe Somewhere Between Heaven and Hell may have outsold it, but it was absolutely not as big of an album, because Somewhere Between Heaven and Hell has Bad Luck on it, and that's the only song that anyone knows from it, which technically charted higher than any of the songs on this one. But, I mean, again, nobody remembers it, so there's a reason for that. I'm a very big Social Distortion fan. I do not think about that album ever.
Yeah, I think the only other song of theirs that I've heard that wasn't on this album was I Was Wrong.
Yeah, but I Was Wrong is from one of their earlier albums.
Okay.
And you know that one because of, presumably you know that one because of games and stuff, which used it later.
Yeah, I was in Rock Band, so that's exactly where I heard it.
I kind of figured.
I want to say Story of My Life was in a game. It might have even been Rock Band or a skateboarding game. I was like 50-50, one of those.
Story of My Life has been in a lot of stuff. In fact, there's an entire listing of trivia stuff that it was in. Ball and Chain was, of course, in My Name is Earl. Flashback to a previous episode. Ball and Chain was in Saints Row the Third. Ring of Fire was in Shaun White Snowboarding. Story of My Life and Ring of Fire were both Rock Band DLC. Story of My Life was on Guitar Hero 3,
Yep.
and
There it is.
MXPX covered Sick Boys at one point.
Yeah, it's not what I expected. I expected a more traditional punk, but it was very blues inspired. There's like all the lead riffs were like all bluesy, almost like Johnny B. Good style blues riffs. I was impressed. Really, it was a lot more technically complex.
Like I said, they're part of the original Orange County punk scene, which is one of the original birth areas of punk, which means that it's very, very much inspired by like early rock stuff. That's also why they're rockabilly.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it reminds you of something like Johnny B. Good, because they're playing on non-distorted guitars, kind of playing Social Distortion, non-distorted guitars. And they're playing pretty simple riffs, actually.
Yeah, a lot of them were only, a couple 4-chord riffs, and, they were, but, like, the lead, I was really impressed by the leads. I admittedly...
Yeah, Mike Ness is one hell of a songwriter, and you can see that in some of his later work. He did solo work as well as a bunch of writing work. He is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly...
Mike Ness is...
I don't listen to a lot of punk, so I guess I was kind of a little unprepared. I was pleasantly surprised, really.
Yeah, I listened... I mean, you gotta keep in mind the dude's 60 now.
Yeah, I think, when did they start? They got their start in like the late 70s, didn't they?
78. Like I said, they were early early punk. It's actually the story of Social Distortion is actually very sad. Obviously, Mike Ness played rhythm. He wrote a lot of their music. The guitarist, Dennis Daniel, something like that. It's Dannell. So correct me in the comments. Go ahead, why don't you guys? Dennis Daniel died in 2000 of a brain aneurysm.
Oh, shit.
They were best buddies for since they were kids.
That's a terrible way to go.
And it's a big part of why they stopped putting out so much work.
I mean, understandably so. I mean, if you're writing songs with the same guy for almost 30 years, and then, that's gotta be tough.
Oh, yeah, it's really sad. No, I recommend his solo album, Under the Influence, would be my favorite.
Okay.
That's also... It's also a cover album.
Oh, interesting.
In fact, it's only a cover album. He did I Fought the Law, the old Buddy Holly track. Or rather, the Crickets track, Sans Buddy Holly.
Made famous by The Clash?
You also probably know it because Bobby Fuller 4, The Clash. No, Bobby Fuller 4 did it way before The Clash did.
Shows what I know.
Have a #1 hit with it before The Clash ever touched it. Green Day's cover was bigger than The Clash's, and better matter. I do not like the Clash version of that song. My favorite is, of course, the Mike Ness version.
Oh, of course.
So he also did the old country track, Big Iron.
Uh-huh.
Is written by Marty Robbins. He did all kinds of stuff. Outwood Flower. It was one of the ones that was done by the Carters.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the Carters, all right.
That was June Carter Cash.
Not Beyonce and Jay-Z.
Oh, those Carters. Oh, those Carters.
No, I said not those Carters, dumbass.
Oh, I didn't hear you. I was too busy talking myself. Because I'm incapable.
Yeah, no, it is June Carter Cash's original band.
That's what I
family
was saying.
Before she was June Cash.
Yeah, she was June Carter.
Yeah. She was famous for that one. Super good song. There was also Wanda Jackson song Fun. He did all kinds of stuff on the album.
Huh.
It's just old school classic country covers. Essentially.
Yeah, I mean, it shows his influence on here with the cover of Ring of Fire.
Yeah, exactly. Which is such a good cover.
Yeah, it was very well done. And then...
No, he's one of my favorite artists.
And just listening to this, I could hear,
Mike Ness did...
Sorry, go ahead.
He did lead vocals and lead guitar, and he's just an incredible writer.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the songs were a lot more personal than I expected to. Like, It Could Have Been Me, and I think it was like the last one. It was like Drug Boy or something.
Drug Train.
Yeah, Drug Train. Yeah, they're a lot more personal than I anticipated.
Yeah, it's also very bluesy.
Yeah, no, that would make sense.
As I mentioned, I really feel the blues influences on this one.
Yeah, I mean, this was completely not what I expected. I mean, this is probably my first time actually listening to them. I mean, I'd seen, like, the little skeleton guy with the martini and cigarette on jackets, patches on jackets way back in high school, but I just never thought to give them another listen. Pleasantly surprised. And then, you can hear a lot of the influence they had on other bands here, like, obviously, The Offspring. I think that Offspring is, like, California, too, right?
Offspring, yes. They were from the Bay Area punk scene, though,
okay.
Like the Green Day punk scene.
But, I could definitely hear some, like, a little bit of Offspring in here. Foo Fighters, too. I heard a little bit, like, especially, like, I feel like Big Me was influenced by this, and even, like, Seether, too. I heard a little bit of, like, some of, like, what Seether does in here, and Riot Girl, too. Like, I heard a lot of, like, Bikini Kill in this.
Yeah. You kind of hitting the nail on the head.
Right, it's like, am I listening? Did they just completely rip off Social Distortion? But
I don't think rip-off is the right word. Like, that'd be like calling Green Day a rip-off of, like, Pink Triangle and Op Ivy.
Right, were they completely influenced by this?
I don't know if they've ever come out and said it, but I would not believe in the slight, at the very least, by the whole early punk scene.
Maybe they shared a guitar tech or a producer at some point too.
I know they've impacted tons of artists, though. Tons of artists.
Yeah. I mean, it shows.
Like I know for a fact, Green Day has listed them as an influence. Rise Against has, Blink-182 has, I believe Pennywise has, of course Pearl Jam and The Offspring, what you'd expect.
Right.
In both cases for different reasons. I know Shooter Jennings, Waylon Jennings' son, once said that he considered them an influence.
Huh. Kind of coming full circle.
He's a super good artist in and of himself. He's one of my favorite artists. I absolutely adore his work. No, I mean, the whole band, you can basically just call it Mike Ness's project because he's the only consistent member.
Right. Everyone else just hired guns, pretty much, except for the guy who
except for the original founding members.
Yeah.
Like Dennis Daniel.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I was uncovering like a missing link here of music tying early rockabilly and blues to 90s alt rock and alt punk.
Absolutely incredible work, though.
Yeah, I was really impressed.
That being said, what were some of the highlights on the album for you?
So, aside from Story of My Life, Ran Fireball Chain, I liked It Could Have Been Me and Let It Be Me.
Let It Be Me is an incredible song.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. And just like the guitar work, just like the little rockabilly ditties he did were, the little blues licks. It's like seasoning on a steak. It just made it that much better.
Yeah. It's an incredible piece of work, though. I cannot just highly recommend it. It is one of my all-time favorite albums by far.
Yeah, I'm definitely adding a couple from this onto my Spotify playlist because this was I really enjoyed.
My personal favorites were probably this is a hard one because this is one of those albums I've listened to since I was a little kid. It's kind of hard to pick a favorite,
Right, Foundation.
Yeah, it's like being asked to pick a favorite. I don't know, just childhood memory, for example, or it's just
right.
When something's a cornerstone of your personality and who you consider yourself as a person and how you are influenced as a musician, it's so to pick one. I'd probably say Story of My Life, even though it's the obvious pick.
Mm-hmm.
That or Ball and Chain, because I listen to those two the most by far.
Mm-hmm.
But So Far Away and Ring of Fire are also very much high up there. Ring of Fire is actually one of the first covers I'd ever heard.
Really?
Yeah. I was about 3 or 4, and my old man played this in the car, and I was very much aware of the Johnny Cash version, but I was not aware of the concept of a cover yet.
Right.
Until he played it for me, and then I realized it just clicked for me, and I had to. That's one of the defining moments of my childhood, because that's why I have such a fascination with covers now.
Right, I can relate. I mean, I feel like there's no middle ground with covers. Either they're really good or they're really bad.
I don't know. I guess, yeah, it's probably fair. There's no middle ground covers.
Because then, if it's just
There's really only Dixie Chicks covering Landslide, or on the opposite, and Five Finger Death Punch covering Offspring.
That's going to have to be a whole other episode, because I could go off for hours how they fucking butchered Gone Away.
Oh, you mean a covers episode?
Yeah.
That sounds familiar.
Hint, hint.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Say no more. Say no more.
Real subtle.
Incredibly subtle.
So, folks, expect that in the coming weeks. It'll definitely not be next week, but it will be coming soon.
Eventually.
Yes, and when we are ready to do it, we will have a special announcement video asking for your suggestions for best things, for best covers and worst covers. Just give us any cover that you can. Give us a YouTube link, give us a Spotify link, whatever you want, and we'll suffer through it.
Emphasis on suffer.
Yeah, depending on what we send us.
As long as it's not Post Malone covering Only Want to Be With You.
I don't hate that, but maybe it's because, Hootie and the Blowfish suck.
Agree to disagree.
Really suck? because you like bland, boring, middle of the road bar band, frat bro pop rock.
I like what I like.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is code for
Basic tastes.
I have a wide swath of tastes. I enjoy.
from one angry white boy band to an angry frat boy band to a bland frat boy band.
Hey, I like Lady Gaga.
Mid-range, folks.
I like Lady Gaga.
Okay, one example. Anyways, getting back to the album, shall we?
Yes. Any more thoughts before we wrap it up?
11 out of 10. Hands down, one of my all-time favorite albums. Is literally the first CD I ever owned. It is the first CD I ever burned. It's the first CD I ever put on an MP3 player. This album holds such a special place in my heart, I cannot even begin to describe it. That is why I've been struggling to talk so much during this entire episode, because I just cannot even begin to describe this album to people. My affection for it is just on a whole other level.
Well put. For me, I really enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I did. Thought I would. It wasn't the typical angry white guy screaming and, yelling, which I was okay with.
Mind you, he liked.
Apparently. The production was a little kind of rough at times, but I mean, that's the punk way. But I'll give it an 8 out of 10.
You're wrong. 11 out of 10. That being said, folks, we have a special surprise. We are going to continue releasing episodes, and you're going to continue to suffer through them.
Surprise!
Surprise! But in all seriousness, folks, it has been a pleasure. Once again, I was Connquest.
And I'm Cap.
This is Roll Credits. Good night, y'all.